everyone. This is Terry Marie, and welcome to Mad Health. We're so excited to be live tonight, and I'm with a good friend of mine, a fellow competitor, a fellow fitness freak, Brett Bauer. How are you?
Wow, what an introduction. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
It's so good to see you. You know, we work together on the red carpet every once in a while doing celebrity stuff. I know you from the fitness world. I'm so proud of you because you now have a book about emotional eating. And tonight we're going to discuss emotional eating and the ups and downs of the traps people get into, how emotional eating goes even with competitors, non-competitors, and just as a life, how to learn how to eat healthy and live a healthy life. So kind of tell people a little bit about your background and how you got into fitness and a little bit about your journey, because you've had a journey yourself.
Oh yeah, yes. Well, thanks. Yes. So, growing up, I was already in competitive environment from being a competitive dancer and cheerleader. So being in the environment, in an adolescent age, you're already kind of going through like body image issues and just comparing yourself to other girls. So it all started there for me. And then as I grew up and I went into college, I got into fitness, and I really started to struggle secretly with different food disorders. And my big thing was emotional eating, where I would go extreme on dieting, and then I would restrict myself so much that I would go and binge. And I just developed this really unhealthy relationship with food. So no matter what emotion it was, it could be happy, it could be sad, stress, anything. And my substance of choice was food. But unfortunately, what you eat in private, you wear in public. So my weight fluctuated dramatically, and I would just go in the cycle of going on these restrictive diets and then going into, falling off the wagon and just putting all the weight back on. So it was just a vicious cycle. And that continued throughout pretty much all my 20s until I got into my early 30s is when I really started to fine tune, really educate myself on nutrition, and really not just train my body, but train my mind, because a lot of people think it's just physical, for weight loss, but really mentally, that's a huge challenge that you really have to focus and teach yourself tools that you can take to help carry you long-term for results.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize this, but food can be an addiction. Just like drugs are addiction, sex is addiction. There's a lot of things that we do to heal pain. And I know you work with clients on this. And how do you deal with somebody who comes to you that's, I'm emotionally eating, I'm either under eating or overeating, or I'm being dysmorphic about my body image. How do you deal with those people?
I mean, everybody has like their own thing. So usually I like to take people back and really help develop tools that are personalized for them, because some people might be an extreme emotional eater by not eating and might be the opposite. So every person is completely different in how I work with them. But really it's going back and finding what are your triggers, what caused you to develop these behaviors in the first place. I know for myself personally, it was because being put into those competitive environments, I was constantly being told that I wasn't good enough. I had to keep performing and get better and better. So I had this tape that would always go in my head that just, hey, I'm not good enough. So those mental patterns went into my behaviors with food, and that developed. So each person is completely different. So really, I just like to work with them, one, on training and teaching them on how to develop a wellness program and a lifestyle with foods that they can incorporate that won't be triggers, that won't bring back certain emotions for them. And then from there, we kind of go in the process. And as the process goes on, you really learn what might have been going on with them internally. And from there, we kind of go through, and that's where the breakthroughs happen. And then you surpass those and you see results. So
yeah, and then you're working with them on exercise and in diet too. And then a lot of times, us as women, we get hung up on things like cellulite or just body image in general. And so what do you tell, those people that kind of, have these unrealistic goals? I want a quick fix, or I want a quick diet, like people go on these fat-free diets that don't work. I mean, what do you do to kind of coach these people to that, this is a lifestyle. It's not just a Band-Aid type thing.
Yes. And if I could tell you how many products or fad diets I've done over the years because I wanted that quick fix, there is no such thing as a magic pill. Unfortunately, if you want long-term results, you have to put the work in. It's not going to happen overnight. So don't expect something to happen within the first 2 weeks. And that's another reason why people might fall off the bandwagon and go back to their old habits, because they want that instantaneous results. But unfortunately, long-term results, you have to put in long-term work. And it is crazy because, and we had talked about this, prior, that there are people, when you see a girl in a magazine or, someone on stage, that girl in the magazine does not look like the girl in the magazine. So a lot of people try to strive to look like that by thinking they have to take a magic pill, or what can they do to get shredded like her. But really, that girl had to do X, Y, and Z to get to that state, or there's Photoshop involved. So kind of dropping, comparing yourself to what you see these images also helps to kind of teach them and coach them the realization that there really is no magic fix. It's just really just clean eating, healthy lifestyle, and just making smart choices.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these competitors, well, I would say majority of them, the people don't really understand that world, because people will dehydrate themselves before they get on a show. They'll take water pills, they'll take diuretics. They will carb deplete where they're about ready to faint. And there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that are not exactly that healthy. So there's people on the stage, that's not really the healthiest that they can be, even though they look that good. So do you just talk to your clients about that? Like, especially people that are not really going to compete, but, I want to be fit, and I want to have a six pack, and I want to look, a certain way. How do you coach those people to be realistic about body image?
Yeah, and it is crazy, because majority of people, when you do see those photos, you don't know exactly what you had said, what goes in behind it, whether it's water pills or just completely over exercising to drop weight. Because I know for myself, when I was in my competition ready stage, you would get so many compliments. Oh, you're in great shape. But you know what? I was probably the most unhealthiest I've ever been in my entire life. I was constantly sick, just not getting a period, just my skin was really just drawn looking, just and gone, like just overall health was just not good. So it's crazy how you think that's health, but it's an illusion. But yeah, just really coaching and teaching people the realism about everything, that what you see is not really what's going on behind the scenes, and really to not compare yourself, because that's not realistic. You can't do that year round realistically. It's unhealthy. And if you did, you would feel like crap, and you would end up hurting your health in the long run.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of people that have they damage their metabolism a lot. Yes. I mean, and there's a lot of horror stories. I mean, people will take T3, which is it's a hormone, but it's your thyroid pill, which is not really a good thing. People end up shutting down their thyroid. And I'm not knocking the fitness industry. I'm not knocking the fitness industry right now, because I love it. I'm a fitness freak. I love working out, but people just don't understand there's a lot of unhealthy behaviors that go into competing. And one of the reasons I started competing is because I wanted to set an example as somebody over 40 that was competing. I'm turning 50 this year, so I think I'm doing pretty damn good. So
I would say so too.
So it is possible to stay healthy. And, but again, people don't, you have to be realistic about your goals, and also to be healthy too, because us as women, we need body fat, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, how many times when people were competing, and they wouldn't get their period for months after their shows, when you do that much, your body doesn't know what's going on, and then happens the fluctuation with everything. You're holding water, you have all this weight gain because your hormones are just all over the place. And that's actually one of the reasons why I stopped competing, is because as much as I love the discipline that went into, for me, it wasn't realistic, and I couldn't handle the mental and emotional ups and downs that came afterwards. It wasn't the prep, it was the complete opposite afterwards, because afterwards, you don't know what's going on with your body. You can't control it. And people think you're just shoving food in your mouth, but really it's just like your hormones are just completely out of whack. So for me, it wasn't worth it. So I'd rather have a lifestyle where, I try to keep healthy year round. I get to enjoy things socially and go out, and if I want to eat pizza on the weekends, I can eat pizza on the weekends, but overall I have a healthy lifestyle, and that's just much more easier for me to maintain, and I don't have the emotionals lows that come with that.
So, yeah, and I think too, and I mean, I'm sure I know you do this with your clients, that you have to teach a healthy balance in life. There's a balance with everything that you do. And when things are out of balance, that's when you tend to eat too much or drink too much, or you're not going to the gym, or you're sleeping too much. You have to balance your life with your friends, your family. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, balance is extremely hard for most people, especially in this busy day. Everyone's busy with work, and then they just keep going, that it is really difficult sometimes. And also to make time for yourself if you are working a lot or you have the kids, and make time for the gym. So balance, you would think, would not be as hard as it would be. Just be more moderate with things, because I know for myself, I've always been an extremist. So whatever I would do, I'd always go to the utmost end of doing things, whether it's exercise or working on something. But really, balance is key, and it's also very challenging, so just something you got to practice.
Yeah, and let's go back to something that you mentioned before, which was one of the mistakes I made, and a lot of people make. And then it goes back to yo-yo dieting, like people cutting out the carbs, people cutting out fat. I mean, we need these micronutrients to stay healthy. And we need these healthy fats. So do you want to talk a little bit about healthy fats and how important it is in the diet?
Oh, completely. I was guilty of that. I don't know if you remember years ago, remember when Snackwells came out and they were like super popular, and everyone's fat free, and then the Pringles with Olestra. I thought this was like amazing. I'm like fat free because I thought fat bad made you fat, but obviously, as we know, healthy fats like avocado, walnuts, almonds, I mean, all these things are just so nutrient dense and so great for so many health benefits, your skin, your nails, your internal organs. So there are so many other options. I really think it's just about balance. I personally don't like to restrict any certain food group out, everything in moderation, but having more of a balanced diet and just intuitive eating. So instead of going on these restrictive diets where when I was in my bodybuilding phase and I had to eat 30 grams of protein and 30 grams of carbs and do everything how I thought I was supposed to do, for me, it didn't work. I always felt like that set me up to go binge on a bunch of food. Because if I went off something slightly that was on that diet that was so strict, I would feel guilty mentally, and then I would just go off and then, screw it. I'll just go eat a bunch of cookies after that. And then it would just snowball from there. So for me, I like to eat healthy, but I like to eat the foods that I like to eat. And that's what I try to incorporate with clients. So you know what, if you don't like eggs, you don't have to eat eggs. Before, myself, if that was in my program, I ate it and I forced myself to eat it. And then if I went off of that, like I said, I would feel guilty, and then I'd make things worse. So I really just try to fine tune things for each person, but incorporating all the healthy fats, all the healthy carbs, surrounding them around the times of your workouts, so you really get maximum output for what you're trying to do and what your goals are. And enjoying life. So if you're having your graduation or you're having a birthday party, don't feel guilty about having a piece of cake on the weekends or a glass of wine with like your boyfriend. I really try to teach and incorporate that into having the healthy lifestyle, because that's going to make you in turn stay on your program longer the more you don't deprive yourself. But everyone thinks you have to be so extreme to get these results, and you don't.
Well, that's the reason that athletes have cheat meals, because if you don't have cheat meals and you're going on these restrictive diets, you shut your thyroid down.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like you start eating and then you start gaining fat. And I mean, there's just so many vicious cycles that people get into because they don't understand how their body works.
Yes.
And a lot of times, when you work with clients, like for me, I'm one of those people that it's harder for me to gain muscle, where I think you said it's easy for you to gain muscle. So my dietary needs are a little bit different. There's not one cookie cutter way to, stay lean or just to stay healthy. And back to the fat thing too, it's like you need those healthy fats like the avocado, the salmon, it's brain food. And I'm sure you've gone through this too when you've gone through prep and you're not having enough fats, you get brain fog and can't think. And like I've lost car keys, I've lost, I can't find my car in the parking lot because I'm not eating any fats.
And that's even with me eating fats and carbs, I still have that happen to me all the time. I go brainless all the time, but yes, I totally agree with you. It is brain food, and you need to fuel your muscles and carbohydrates. Like your heart's a muscle, you have to feed it. So yeah, anything that you're completely depriving yourself and restricting yourself from certain food groups, I just don't really believe that's the key to long-term success and overall health. So.
Yeah, and then that's another thing where you have you're eating carbohydrates. And if you're not eating enough carbohydrates and you're doing too much cardio, you're burning fat off. So people don't realize that too. And then you get the skinny fat syndrome and people are like, I don't understand why I'm not building muscle. It's because you're burning all your muscle off, which is too much cardio. And people need to weight train. And then, and I don't know, maybe when I talk about this, the older we get, we need to have muscle. We need to have muscle tone, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, it just helps anything with weightlifting will help prevent osteoporosis. And I think especially for females and getting older, that's extremely important. So there's really no age where you can't start weightlifting. I know my mom does her little weights at home, and it's great. Even if she's just sitting in her chair, just doing something where you have some kind of weight resistance training, it's just going to help. It's going to help for all health problems down the road. I started very young, and I think that's why for me, the overweight training isn't really what I need to do now, because like we were talking before, everybody's body is different. For me, I put on muscle really fast, so I have to taper my diet a certain way like that. Like I can't eat a ton of protein, and I can't do heavy weight training because I'll put it on way too fast. So for myself, I like to be more athletic and be able to be more flexible, and I do more yoga now these days. So
yeah, I mean, like my mom's in her 70s, and I've got her doing just body weight.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize you can build, some nice muscle tone and get lean with just using your own body weight. And you really don't have to go to the gym to work out. You can go down to the beach, you can walk. You just have to get your body moving, get that metabolism moving.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to ask you is there's some kind of different scenario, or there's some different thoughts about fasting cardio. And I know a lot of people tell their clients, do cardio in the morning without eating anything. To me, that's hell. I don't know. I have a real problem doing.
Wait, tell us how you really feel.
But again, like I'm one of those people that's harder for me to build muscle. So I'm like, when I'm trying to drop fat for a show, I don't have to do so much fasting cardio. But I do know that, let's just say, average person who's not competing, there's a lot of coaches out there or wellness coaches that have people doing fasted cardio. What's your feeling on that?
I think it goes both ways. I mean, this really comes back down to just making it personalized to one, about your client or that person's goals, and also about their body and how it reacts. Yes, when I was competing, I did fasted cardio, and it did totally suck, especially days when you're really hungry and you're low carb and you're cranky and you're tired. So yes, but not every morning I get up and do cardio now, but I make sure I have like an apple, some almond butter. I personally don't like going on an empty stomach. I want to have a little bit of energy to do what I'm doing. So I mean, I think if you are an athlete and you are competing, sure, go do your fasted cardio if you think so. I always believed in competing, not cutting so many calories out and just bumping up your cardio more, so you still held on to your muscle and your shape, but you just got more lean as you would diet down. But like I said, there's so many theories, and everybody is different, so it really just pertains to each individual. But yeah, if they are trying to compete for something, you can always kind of throw that in as trying at something later down the road to kind of get that little extra kick. But I personally don't love fasted cardio.
I hate it. It's my idea of hell. Like burpees. I hate burpees too.
I know.
When I trainer made me do burpees, I was like, please can I want to kill myself. I hate burpees. But anyway, a lot of people don't enjoy them.
And that's the thing too with clients. It's really finding what works for them. So I have some clients that completely hate going in the gym. Yeah. But another client that loves going on hikes with their dogs outside, goes as that, loves yoga. I mean, yoga, for myself, for many years, I was like, I'm not doing yoga. Because I just love having music in my ears and being able to meditate and just kind of like zone out. And that was my thing. Now, I love yoga. Like I do the hot yoga, the Bikram yoga. For me, that was a switch out of the gym because I got so burnt at the gym. And it really was great with burning calories and just helps your overall health with just, it's kind of like HIIT cardio. So your heart rate's going up and down for 90 minutes. And it's just this total detox sweat from head to toe. And you just feel so euphoric and amazing afterwards. And it's actually helped my training too, just having more flexibility now.
You actually you hit on two things that, that I think that are important. One is, I think that, staying in shape and staying physically fit, health is all mind body connection.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people miss the yoga thing, that you need to take time out to relax. and reflect and have positive energy. Because because a lot of times our body holds stress, cortisol, what am I, what's the word am I going, cortisol? Cortisol, yes, was a hormone which makes people have belly fat, and a lot of that's just caused by stress or not getting enough sleep. And people don't like realize that, and then they're holding on to fat and they're not understanding why. So I started doing yoga too, more so because I'm high strung, obviously. I'm a little ADD. I'm running all over the place all the time, so I need to do something to kind of calm myself down. And
it'd be great for you. And it's funny because I was that person like in a gym. I think with the gym too, everything's monitored. So when you visually see on the treadmill, oh, you burn X amount of calories, for me, it's like, okay, I'm not seeing that anymore. So I'm scared to go do something else because I was so extreme that I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if I'm gonna have the same output, but as difficult and challenging as it was for myself, who's very OCD, does not like to be trapped in rooms. It has been the most amazing experience because it has just helped, just what you said, mind, body, and spirit, and all of that does connect. And before, I think my stress level was really high, but that for me balances me out. But it is, a lot of people don't know that wellness is all that combined together, not just the physical. And that's one thing that like I try to do because I've worked with many trainers over the years, and a lot of them do not focus on the mental, the emotional part of it all, and that just goes hand in hand. Because when your emotional and mental state are very healthy, everything else is going to pursue and follow through too. But if you just focus on the physical, that's all you're going to get, and it's not going to stay put because your mental emotions are still going to be an old behavior pattern. So I couldn't agree with you more on that balance. But a lot of people kind of skip those two,
Yeah, they skip those things and they just, they go to the gym, they don't stress out, they don't get enough sleep. And it's all that balance in your life. And sometimes things are out of our control in this life, and we just kind of have to let go and let God, you just have to. But the other thing I wanted to touch on too, that you brought up was HIIT cardio.
Yes.
I used to be one of those, I'm a cardio queen. I'm going to spend an hour, 2 hours at the gym, on the treadmill and like on the Stairmaster, and like nothing happened. I'm like, why am I not like getting to my goals? And people don't realize that you can just do it. You could do a 20-minute HIIT fitness exercise. And maybe we can do a video together and put it on Mad TV or on the Mad Health show here, because I don't think enough people realize that, you can get such a great workout in just 15, 20 minutes and burn more calories than standing on the treadmill for 2 hours.
Totally. And you don't have to do burpees if you don't want to too. I know that's one thing, that was one thing for myself too. I thought, okay, if I'm not doing my steer mill, if I'm not on the treadmill, I'm technically not doing cardio. But because my time got so limited, if there's one day I want to weight train, I'll do that like as my HIIT cardio. So I'll do like a minute here, do some push-ups here, do a jump rope, do a sprint, do some shoulder presses, and I just keep going, and I'm getting my weight training and my cardio in together. So there's so many different variations and things that you can do to modify everything.
The thing is what I kind of realized when I started getting serious about competing, which I didn't realize, is I was spending too much time in the gym. And that really, I didn't really have to spend as much time in the gym I was spending. You know what I mean? Because I was doing too much cardio. I wasn't lifting heavy enough. So if you're lifting, and women out there, if you're not taking steroids, you're not going to look like a man. That is a myth.
Really? I didn't know that one.
What was that?
I know. And you know what? When I was when I first started weight training, when I was like in my teens, I started weight training, I was like 16 years old. I thought the same thing too. I thought, oh no, like you're going to get big and bulky, and you can't. You know what I mean? You physically can't, unless you are taking testosterone and mass amounts of it.
And it shows on your face. You can't hide it.
It'll show in your face. It'll show in your voice. I mean, you really cannot go that extreme. So I always tell my female clients that like, I want to get tight and toned. Well, you know what? Lift, that's just going to bring your inches down. I'm like, don't even pay attention to the scale. I hate scales because all it does is mess with your mind.
Oh yeah.
Because if I weighed 200 pounds and I felt fit, I wouldn't care what the number was, and no one's walking around asking what your weight is, so for me, I like to go by measurement with the tape measure, if you really want to gauge something, or just by how your clothes fit. But really weight training, all it's gonna do is just gonna make you tighter and toner. You're not gonna get big and bulky. So we can get that theory and thought out for
throw it out the window.
Yeah.
But it's funny because this is like one of those traps that people get into. Again, it's like, too much cardio. No, just, do 20 minutes, 20 minutes of hit cardio 3 times a week,
Yep.
lift heavy, spend like, an hour, like lifting weights and again, and change your diet.
Yes.
And get your mind straight with your body, connect with your
Oh.
body, and then you can stay healthy and get rid of the GMOs. And that's another thing that people don't really realize because people do not know how to read labels. I personally am not a big fan of whey protein. I'm more of and I think we've talked about this before. A lot of people are lactose intolerant and can't tolerate it. And whey is a product of cheese.
Yes.
And what's your feeling on that?
Kind of going back to my own personal story too, that I thought, I had to consume all this protein. So I was a big user of whey protein, taking scoops of whey protein in between my meals. And I always never felt right. That made sense. I just feel like I didn't digest everything. My stomach always constantly felt bloated. There's a lot of education and different types of quality of whey, which unfortunately the products are not approved by the FDA. So you really don't know what's on the label.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard and kind of scary at the same time with whey protein products. So just want to be careful. I'm not against whey protein. I think it's great, fast acting. It's perfect, like post-workout. It's great to use for baking. So I do still use whey protein. I just don't use as much of it, and I use a higher quality. I just try to be very careful with how it's sweetened and how it's processed and the purity of it. But I'm really big on plant-based proteins. So when I kind of got off the whole bodybuilder, whatever I was doing with the diet, I started to just do the intuitive eating, where I was never a big meat eater. So growing up, I went vegetarian when I was like 10 years old, just because I didn't like the taste of the meat. So I just loved vegetables, and so I'd constantly eat vegetables. But my energy levels were low, stuff like that, and I didn't really know how to incorporate correct protein. So now I use a lot of plant-based proteins. There's so many out there that are really great. I mean, just getting protein from beans, and I do use some plant-based protein powders. But ever since I switched over, digestively, I feel fantastic. It just changed my life. But going back, I got blood work done, and I am more of a plant-based blood type, which is an A positive. And I don't know if there's, 100% theory with behind the whole blood type.
I believe in that. I totally believe eat right for your blood type. I'm an O, and I do really well on protein. I eat a high protein diet, and if I'm not getting enough protein, I get really sluggish. So I could be a vegetarian, it just wouldn't work. But then I have issues with cheese and dairy. It makes me bloat, and so that's why I personally stay away from it. And that's why, again, there's not one size fits all for this. You have to kind of know your body and see how your body reacts to. But if you are going to eat any kind of products, you need to make sure what's in them, because the fitness industry will have like some, hot guy on there, or some, really good looking girl holding this product, and it's full of crap. It's full of just processed junk that you don't need, and it's not healthy for you. If you're eating a bunch of that fake sugar, I mean, there's studies done that Diet Coke makes you fat. Aspartame is a neurotoxin. And it causes brain fog. I mean, I used to be a Diet Coke junkie, and I used to have brain fog all the time. And once I stopped the Diet Coke, I actually lost a little bit of weight, and I didn't have the brain fog anymore. I don't know if you had any experiences with that, with kind of getting rid of processed foods.
Completely. When I was competing, I would do the strangest things just to curb cravings. I mean, strange. I mean, Splenda was my best friend. So if it wasn't sugar-free Jello, I was doing sugar-free this or whatever, just to get like something in that was sweet. And I did a lot of diet sodas. And I mean, I would pour the big baking bag when Splenda came out. They had the baking size ones. I do giant scoops, and I put that into my little bit of oatmeal just because I just was craving so much sugar. I mean, I know the diet probably could give you brain fog, but even when I was not dieting, I did that, man, like I noticed a huge difference. And now when I go back and I drink a lot of the artificially sweetened stuff, I get headaches, just like weird stuff, because I'm just not used to doing it. I do more of the natural sweetened things, or I just do natural sugar. But I mean, it's crazy when you think you have to do these artificial things to restrict calories so you can lose weight, but it's really doing the opposite effect, and especially long term, when your body doesn't recognize that stuff. It wasn't made to metabolize artificial stuff. So when you actually consume real stuff that it recognizes, like it might be sugar from fruit, something like that, like your body will metabolize it and break it down.
Yeah,
But
it's different.
artificial stuff doesn't know what it is. It just kind of sits there in your intestine and just who knows what it's doing. So it's kind of scary when you think about it, but it's in so many products. I mean, so you really have to read the labels and really fine tune what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, I mean, my rule is if I don't know if I can't pronounce it and don't know what it is, I'm not going to buy it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think you should try to buy foods or eat foods that are close to what God made naturally, you know, like natural, just, you know, a lot of greens, a lot of healthy vegetables. It just nothing, just try not to eat anything out of a box or a can. You just don't need to have
Yeah.
it.
And even when you go to the grocery store, I tell my clients, you know, shop the perimeter of the store because that's where all the fresh fruit and vegetables and meats are going to be. Once you start going down those aisles is where all that processed stuff is going to be. And you think it might be healthy with their little calls out to non-GMO or it's gluten-free or this or that. It's still processed packaged food. It's not fresh. So if something is fresh for longer than 6 months and it's just in a little package, it's probably not the best thing to eat, you know?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I even did a study with one of these fast food places in like the burgers, and they took a picture of it, you know, when it was first purchased, and then purchased it like I think it was like 3 months later.
I think it was a McDonald's hamburger.
And it looked exactly the same. It's that preserved. There's so many preservatives in there just to keep this food. And it's like, that's so scary that we're ingesting this stuff in our body.
Wasn't it like Twinkies too? Like a Twinkie would sit on the shelf for like 3 years or something. And then what is that in your body?
I think it probably was. I remember being bummed out because I loved Twinkies as a kid. So
I know, but they would live, I mean, not live, last like for 10 years or something like ridiculous. But again, your body doesn't recognize these chemicals. It doesn't know how to process it. And calories are not equal. You know what I mean? That's another thing is people don't realize just because you can have, you know, a piece of fruit or let's say half a donut, maybe they're the same, you know, same 80 calories for that little piece of donut versus that piece of fruit. And you're going to get, you know, much more nutrients and stuff for that piece of fruit.
Oh yeah, it was hard for myself actually to make that switch of going from having a diet that, you know, had less calories to look a certain way to eating more nutrient dense foods that had way more calories in it, because that was just like, you know, it screws with your head, you know, but you're trusting that process, your body, like I said, will recognize it and you'll actually have better results with it. So instead of eating that artificial protein bar with the fake sugars in it, before the gym, have, you know, like some almonds and walnuts or blueberries, something that your body will recognize, and you'll have, you know, a better result from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this all ties into to emotional eating.
Yes.
Because if you're eating healthy and you're eating, you know, non-GMO foods and you're eating, you know, healthy balance of good fats, good carbs, good proteins, you're going to feel better and you're not going to really want to binge and you're actually able to eat more. That's what people realize too. You don't have to starve yourself. You can actually eat a healthy diet and stay skinny, or not skinny, you know what I mean, but, you know, stay in shape and actually have a good quality of life. Again, it's just teaching yourself how to eat. And I'm sure that you probably, with your clients, probably teach people how to prep food, because the biggest mistake is that people grab chips because they don't have food prepared. So you want to talk a little bit about food prep, whether you're an athlete or not, just in general?
Yeah, no, completely. And I 100% agree with you on that too. It does all time with the emotional eating, because that's just going into the whole restrictive thing. But when you do have those balanced nutrients in there, you will notice you're not going to have those massive cravings at all, you know. And once you slowly over time, the frequency and the duration of those binges are going to become more or less and less. So that ties into it. But yeah, with meal prepping, 100%, it's one of the main big components into having a healthy lifestyle, because you're constantly feeding yourself. You're going to keep your energy levels and your sugar levels really balanced and even keel, so you're not going to have these dramatic lows and get really hungry, and then you just grab whatever you can. Or if you're in the office, you know, people are bringing in cake and cookies and you're so tired that you're just going to go grab that, and then boom, you're off your diet again. You're feeling guilty. So meal prep is huge. So it doesn't have to be this huge production. I know a lot of times it'd be like, oh gosh, it's Sunday, so like my whole day, I just don't want to do it. And it really doesn't have to be like that. Literally, I just grab, you know, some healthy snacks at the store. I might pre-cook some fish in a container. I just, you know, for the rest of the week, I just kind of, when I'm out the door, I just grab stuff. I always have a cooler with snacks. All my friends make fun of me. So like, what's with you and all your food? I'm like, lay off me. I'm hungry. And I mean, like, I don't care. I don't like to go hungry. So whether it be, a healthy little, like I make homemade protein bars, stuff like that, like homemade stuff like that, or if it's almonds or an apple, or, I have my little kale chip snacks in there, like whatever it is, I always have them on me because I don't care if I'm just like going down the street for 20 minutes. You just never know. Because that right there, it's almost like my medicine. It prevents me from going off and doing other things and eating other things that might trigger me to another emotion to go off and binge. So I 100% believe in meal prepping. It just doesn't have to be as extreme as you might think.
Yeah, no,
But
I mean, you just have healthy stuff in the refrigerator. I mean, you have to listen to your body.
yeah.
When your body's hungry, it's like you need to eat something, but just grab, a thing of almonds too. Like people, they think like, oh, like almonds, this fat. I don't want to eat that. No, it's almonds are just real. Again, it's brain food. It's good fat. I tend to keep, some avocado and rice cakes. I love avocado and rice cakes. I don't know, together. I just, just something quick. I mean, it's quick and easy. Just if you have it there, you're not going to go reach for,
Right. Yeah.
McDonald's and blow it. But, every once in a while, we're human. You need to go, and you do need to go out and enjoy your life and go out to dinner. And you can still go to a restaurant and order healthy too. People don't realize that, you don't have to eat the whole bag of chips at a Mexican restaurant.
I know, although they're really they're really good, that salsa and guac. But yeah, I know it's always about balance. Like I just like to keep it clean during the week, and then on the weekend, run to dinner if I'm craving pizza, or I love nachos. That's my thing. I'll have those, but then I'm kind of back on track the rest of the week. But in with meal prepping, like I said, it doesn't have to be like this huge production of things, but it's just being prepared. And also too, like one of the other books that I did it's called the No Cheat Sweet Cookbook. And I made that one purposely because one of the triggers for me was sweet foods.
So what's that called? Tell our listeners.
No Cheat Sweets. So there are all these dessert recipes that you can make that are sweet, that are all healthy, like avocado pudding as an example, or protein pancake, stuff like that you can make that stuff. So that also will curb you from going off the deep end off the deep end with your diet, because that's the one thing that would trigger me and when I would create something sweet. And this is prior to like Quest bars and stuff like that existing, but if you want something that's non-processed and a healthy meal, you can always go to one of those recipes. So, and
you should be aware of protein bars too, because a lot of protein bars on the market are glorified candy bars, and it's not doing you any good.
They taste so good. I know.
If you can make your own protein bars, I mean, I make my own protein muffins every morning, and I'm going to do I'm going to put it up on my show. But it's basically just oatmeal, flaxseed, protein powder, eggs, and honey. And it's really pretty good.
Yeah, when are you gonna make me some?
I will.
We'll do that health cooking show.
Yes, we should do a healthy cooking show next.
And then I can't promise you that I might not eat all the muffins, because I love muffins.
I love muffins too. That's one of my crazy things that I just had to figure out some alternative for it. But but using the oats, I mean, it kind of works instead of a flour, because I try to get rid of the gluten too.
Yep.
But yeah, there's things you can experiment with. Sometimes I've experimented with some recipes that haven't turned out that good, but I'm getting better at it.
You can do coconut flour, almond flour, those are great. And if you do like a blended protein, I found it really fluffs up the pancake or the protein muffin, whatever you're doing. So like a little caseinated protein will kind of do that if you don't have baking powder. So there's so many tricks that you can do to kind of mimic that stuff. And once you start eating that way, your body starts to stop craving the artificial stuff, stops craving like, the processed sugars. Like it's kind of weird how you kind of go through that phase where once you eat that, you start to get sick from it. And
it's really weird. Like this is true story. Like I used to be a big fan of McDonald's French fries. Like growing up, I just loved McDonald's French fries. And then I cut out, processed food. And then I did a show, and I went through McDonald's. I was so excited to have French, and I was like, ugh, it just tasted like a grease pan to me. You know what I mean? Like, because my body was like rejecting it, and I got kind of sick after I ate it because I'm not used to eating it. And it's just weird. Like your body will change and you won't even crave that stuff anymore. But again, GMOs, sugar, it's cancer. Sugar is cancer causing. It feeds cancer. People don't realize that. So you really need to cut your sugar down. You should only get it from natural sources. It causes obesity. So it's not just, a mental thing, it's a health thing, and you can heal your body with food.
Oh, completely, completely. And it is crazy. People don't know the effects of how sugar is on the body, but also the mind. I mean, there was tons of studies
Mhm.
where processed sugar, they studied brain activity with someone eating processed sugar and someone with cocaine, and it had the
Yeah.
same effect. And it's really, really scary because that also too ties into emotional eating, because people don't understand once they put that them into their body, it affects some people differently than others. For me, it was a drug, literally was a drug. So you would get that high and that instant low, and then it would just go snowball, and you would kind of domino effect into that behavior. But yeah, people don't know that. They think, oh, I'm just gonna have this because it's gonna taste good, but it does a lot of other things to your body, and especially with all the GMOs, like you said.
Well, it's kind of crazy too because I don't know if you've noticed this, but with some of your clients, but I'm sure you've had clients when they start eating better, they go through withdrawal
Yeah.
symptoms, and sometimes they get sick, they get nauseous because they're getting it because they're detoxing all these toxins out of their body,
Oh yeah.
and they literally get sick. I, I mean, and I
Mhm.
know a couple of friends that have gone through it and stuff. So there it's withdrawing from like sugar is a drug,
Yeah.
and fat-free foods. What do they fill them with? Sugar.
Hmm.
So that's why these fat-free foods that they push for to be skinny and stuff. They're not good.
Oh,
They're
completely.
detriment to your health.
I know. I remember being addicted. This is going to be crazy, but one of my addictions was Jif had the reduced fat peanut butter. And when I was in college, my roommate used to buy the Jif reduced fat, thinking it was healthier, the fat craze was going on then. And that peanut butter literally was like a drug to me because it was so sweet and it was loaded with sugar, but I used to be like, okay, you have to hide this because it's too addictive for me. There was something about it. I just couldn't control myself when I would eat it. I'm fine with natural peanut butter. I love it. I don't, want to eat tons of it. But with that peanut butter, the artificially or, sweetened with all the extra sugar stuff in there, that was a total drug for me. And I somehow would find it. I don't know how she would hide it. And I always find it.
Cream peanut butter.
Go. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with like a jar of empty peanut butter. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm sleep eating, which has happened plenty of times of dieting. So the things I could tell you that I've done, it's actually, that would be its own book right there.
Well, how many books do you have out now? Two? You got two
Um,
books.
I have two. I have a little short mini Cliff Note version book of like just basic 10 weight loss tips, and then I have the No Cheat Sweet cookbook, and then I have the Break Free from Emotional Eating and Yo-Yo Dieting. So that book is actually that's my baby. That one I started 3 years ago, and finally just packaged it up and finished it. But it really is just everything that I went through, a little personal touch of like my experiences, but also all the tools that I had to develop for myself to be where I am today. Because honestly, if you were to ask me 15 years ago if I would be where I am today, like mentally, physically, emotionally, with my food and the relationship with food, I wouldn't think I'd be here because I was in such a bad place where relationships were failing with friends, with family members. It affected my job, affected my finances because I was just so ashamed of what I was going through, and you just become so mentally, emotionally exhausted that it's like you just want to give up. And it's like I can't keep going through the cycle over and over again. So if I can help anybody from repeating this cycle, since I know a lot of people secretly struggle with it, the more that I've been open about my history, then I'll feel like I won the lotto if I know that I could help someone from overcoming that, because it's very, very frustrating, and it can be a very lonely and scary place because you think that no one else is going through it and to that extreme, and you don't want to tell anybody because you're kind of embarrassed, but then you're also ashamed because you just put on all this weight, or you're just up and down all the time. So like I said, people started to notice on me after a while because it was such a long cycle. But I just really want to help people overcome that.
Yeah, it's got to be a great feeling too to help people get through these issues because you know how painful it is.
Yeah.
Because these issues do affect other people in your life and you really don't realize it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then the day after, really going off the deep end, and it's hard because if you don't snap back on the next day and just say, you know what, it's a new day and keep going. If you don't catch it right then, it just gets more and more difficult as it goes on. And then you get more and more depressed, your self-confidence and your self-esteem breaks down. And just, it gets more and more difficult to go back the other way. So those emotions that day after, it's like you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, you're ashamed, you don't want to be seen in public, just you just feel really bad about yourself. And really, it's not as bad to the outside person, but to yourself, you just feel so horrible about yourself because, I mean, everybody has different variations of what a binge is, but
Mm-hmm.
really, mine wasn't just, oh, I just had a couple cookies. Mine was like, I started with a cookie and then went to two, then went to a whole sleeve. And then I went off and I bought a dozen donuts and then, pizza, a box of cereal. I mean, I wouldn't stop until I couldn't breathe. That's how severe I would get. And then it would just, since you go to bed on such a full stomach, for me, when I go to bed full stomach, the next day I'd be starving, and you wouldn't be hungry for your fruit and your smoothie. You'd be craving all that drug addictive food with all the high sugars and the
Mm-hmm.
salts and the fats and the processed stuff. So it's really hard to snap yourself out of that cycle because you can get so deep into it that it takes a lot of willpower and it takes a lot of support to get back and focus on what you were just doing. And then, it mentally it's so challenging because you feel like a failure and you feel like, how am I going to get back in there? And you don't want to walk back in the gym, especially if you just went 2 weeks of doing that, because instantly your body changes. You're holding water, but you also do put on a lot of weight if you're eating that much food. So yeah, it's a very difficult downward spiral if you don't catch it and snap out of it really fast.
Yeah, and did you think there were certain things that triggered it? I mean, did it take you a while to learn, like, God, this is a trigger for me to start binging?
Oh yeah. There's different types of stress. For myself, when I had stress that was related to work, I would binge. When I had stress that was related to a heartbreak, I couldn't eat, So for me, it was different types of stress. But the biggest thing, and this is something I talk about in the book, was sleep. When you deprive yourself of sleep, and something we had talked about too, that puts your brain into a mental state where you're not thinking clearly. You Because you're lacking the sleep, you're naturally going to crave carbs and sugar because that gives you that little boost of high. And
Mhm.
once you start that cycle, that's what keeps going. That's when people drink these sugary coffee drinks or whatever, because that will give them a boost, but you're going to crash really fast afterwards. So sleep is a huge thing. So I noticed for myself, if I didn't get enough sleep, or if I was really stressed out with work, or if I was just in if you have those days when you're in a bad mood or something's off,
Mhm.
or you're PMSing. If I was in a situation where or I already felt kind of like blah, or my clothes aren't fitting right, I noticed if I was out at a party, whatever, and I was in that mental state, and I chose a food like or a cookie or something, sugar or pastry, that would put me back into that mindset even more so. So for me, it's just really being aware of where I am mentally and emotionally in that time period, and just making a smart choice because it's not like alcohol, it's not like drugs where you just have to be abstinent. With food, you have to eat to live. So food is the easiest accessible substance, and it's the most commonly one that's used because it's food. So you can't be abstinent. So it's really, really tricky when it comes to any kind of food addictive behaviors. You have to really fine tune what your triggers are, the tools you're going to use, and you have to have a plan. Because when you have that plan, it's kind of like your medicine and you're safe. Okay, well, I'm really tired right now. I'm really sluggish. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I really, really want to eat this bar of chocolate. But if I know I eat this bar of chocolate, I'm going to feel bad about myself or whatever that feeling's going on in your head. Well, you know what? I can eat this protein pancake that I made last night. It's sweet, it has a little banana in there. It's going to give me that little boost. So there's so many different options and things that you can do to not refrain from going into those behaviors, but it's really fine tuning each individual and what triggers them. So.
And don't you think too, a lot of it has to do with, you have to learn self-love too, because a lot of times people don't love themselves and they don't accept themselves. And so they try to cover that pain too. So that's a big thing too, that you just need to learn to forgive yourself and to love yourself. And, none of us are perfect.
Oh, completely. And it's crazy too, because when I kind of got into the whole gym scene back when I was a teenager, a lot of people in the gym come from other addictive patterns or behaviors, and you see it go incorporate to the gym. And a lot of that too is what you're saying. It is a self-love, whether they were an alcoholic before or they were obsessive compulsive with things. I mean, it all goes into there. So it's not really fixing anything. It's just transferring your
Transferring an addiction.
into something else. But it really comes to like, yeah, with competing, or just prepping for stuff, I used to think, okay, once I get to this body weight or I look like this, then I'm going to be happy. Well, you know what? I've been to that body weight before. I've been to that image. You know what? I wasn't any happier. I'll tell you that. And,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I always thought that, oh, when I lose this little pinch on my lower belly, I'm going to be so happy. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't happen that way. And you really do have to love yourself and realize, you know what? Like, who cares if you have a little cellulite? Who cares if you have a spider vein? I mean, everybody has their flaws. And when you see these picture perfect people in the magazines and it's all, whatever, because I used to have my wall of motivation with all my fitness girls cut out there. I met them in person, they're real, and they have flaws and they have veins and they have, little things here and there and dimples. And it's like, everyone's real. So I think the more we keep it real and teaching positive body image, and just women supporting women and, even with the men, I just think it's just going to help all around. I don't know why there's such these high requirements or these images that you got to attain to look a certain way. And it's kind of scary now what's going on with this day and age and the adolescents, where now they have like Instagram and they have all these reality shows with, young people getting a lot of, surgeries and things to look a certain way. I mean, we didn't really have that growing up, so I can't imagine the pressure of this image that the young generation has now. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. Because then they think it's this outer appearance that's going to make them happy, where it comes within your heart and becomes with, your soul and, and the people around you and stuff. And people, I mean, I've seen people like get so obsessed with, the fitness thing that they don't have a life anymore because they're afraid to go out and to enjoy their life. And I mean, that again is a problem. I mean, you can't like lock yourself out from society so that you could be this picture perfect person. Yeah. And again, it's what we said at the beginning of the show. It's about balance, and it's about love, and it's about accepting you as a human being, and you are a creation of, whatever higher power you have. You're a beautiful thing. We all are. We're all beautiful.
Right. So. Yeah. And I think too, surrounding yourself by supportive people. I've been in a lot of situations where it didn't help. It actually worsened my emotional eating because I was around people that were not supportive at all. Not just with like what I was going through, but just like feeling loved or feeling appreciated. And the more that I've kind of cut out those toxic people, because I'm really quick to cut people out now these days, the more my life became very healthy and well-rounded, and just people that are appreciated. They don't care if like I'm 5 pounds over my normal weight because I went on vacation for a couple of weeks or whatever. Like none of that stuff matters. And I think too, with age, getting older, I know myself in my late teens and 20s, I was extremely hard on myself where, like it was really difficult because I always felt like I had to be this certain way or look this certain way. And when you get older, you just kind of like, what? It's like, I got other things to worry about. You know what I mean? So
yes,
I just don't think the same, but I do think that is definitely something that needs to be, kind of passed on and expressed with a lot of people that are still trying to learn it. Cause I do have friends that are older and still trying to learn that. But I think it's just about supporting everyone.
Well, we're getting up to that hour mark. And so, I want you to tell our audience where we can buy your books. And tell everybody where your social media is so they can follow you. And
tell them my Bumble page so they can swipe right. And
what did you say?
And tell them my Bumble profile so they can swipe right.
Oh my God.
Kidding. I'm not on there anymore. So for the books, everything's on my website. It's BrettBauerFitTV.com. That's BRETT Bauer, BAUER. FitTV.com. That's it. And you can just go to the shop tab, and on the shop tab, there's going to be products, services, and then digital ebooks. So from there, you can kind of click. And for anyone that kind of goes on the show, I do have a discount code. So just be BBFitTV and 20, which will give you 20% off. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of goodies on there. There's some great products. I use a lot of these products like Clinical Sports Labs. I use a lot of their protein, their pre-workout. It's go back to the whey protein. It's a very, very clean formula, and I don't have any stomach upset from it. Healthy snacks. I got Enlightened and Bean Crisps on there. They're great. They're actually broad beans that they roast, and they're low calorie and high protein. One of my favorite little things.
Those are Enlightened. That's a great brand. Their ice cream is really good.
Oh my gosh, their ice cream is awesome. So those are really great. I have Devotion Nutrition. They're a great product on there too. They have the flex flavors. So you can add any of their flavoring to like your oatmeal, your coffee, your protein shakes. So that's a great way. And they're sweetened with stevia, so they're naturally sweetened. And they also have protein powder there too. This is a great one. That angel food cake's great. That one I like to make my protein pancakes with. So I'll do like a half scoop of that because that's a blended protein, naturally sweetened. And I'll do that with some egg whites and some oats and cook that up. And then Inspired Nutraceuticals, one of the best aminos out there. It's a vegan fermented amino. It's really hard to find high quality aminos these days.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the ones I love, yeah, they taste great. I'll get, my soda water, and instead of getting a diet soda, I'll add some aminos in there to flavor it. So I'm getting my aminos, but I'm also getting that refreshing bubbly that I like. So if you do like protein bars, these are great. The BooFit bars, they're very, very clean. They have like cashew butter, pea protein. They either have a paleo with egg white, they have a grass-fed whey, and they also have the plant protein. So just very clean items, just some things that I like to use, and I like to share them with my clients, just to kind of show there are products out there that are really great, can help with performance and help with your overall wellness.
And taste good.
And taste good, because I like
Yeah.
to snack. So yes.
Okay. So, so I don't know if you told everybody your social media, but if you
Okay,
did.
social media is also Brett Bauer Fit TV, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, Snapchat. I'm trying to think what all these social media apps now. I'm like, oh gosh, if I'm missing
There's
any.
actually too many of them, I think.
I know. I know. So, but yeah, I think that should be it.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks so much for, being on my show tonight. And I'm sure I'll have you back. Maybe we can do a cooking show, and maybe
I
we
would
can
love to.
I would like to do a hit workout with you. That'd be fun. That'd be really
Totally.
fun.
Yeah.
And we can kind of show people, we'll just do a quick 20-minute exercise. We'll do just body weight and kind of show people, it's possible to just do this stuff at home. But anyway, for all our viewers out there, thank you for joining Mad Health with Terry Marie. Have a great night.
Thanks.